Black Ops 7's release date is inching towards us as I make this video. There's been a ton of discussion over a few aspects of this game, including the release date itself, and you guys probably know how I feel about Black Ops 7 at this point. I am always happy to be proven wrong if it ends up being something amazing, but I do find a lot of this stuff interesting, and I know you guys like hearing about it, so let's have a little talk today about Black Ops 7. Let's talk about it potentially launching early, as well as some other things about the game, like the state of COD's anti-cheat software, and whether or not Activision is actually up to the task of reviving the franchise in the face of the strongest competition they faced in years, which I'm talking, of course, about Battlefield 6, but even on other sides of it. Arc Raiders, I know it's a completely different sandbox, but it's pulling players as well. Black Ops 7, I know when we first got it announced, we were thinking Black Ops 2.0, 2.5, and we're like, it's going to be carried with nostalgia, and this is one that's really going to be able to be a free win for Call of Duty. Well, things have drastically changed. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, and welcome to another COD commentary. Thank you for all the support and love you guys have showed on the recent ones. I appreciate that. We're going to keep them on the main channel, and if you guys have topics you want me to talk about in the Call of Duty universe, or even in the FPS gaming universe as a whole, and maybe it connects to Call of Duty, I'm here for it. I have opinions to give, and we are in 2025 where I just want to let it loose with you guys. So drop a like, make sure you guys are subscribed, and remember, I do literally read every single comment on every single video. You can tell by the little chaos hearts that I put, and sometimes I reply too as I go through it. Now, we did a video a few days ago about the state of COD versus Battlefield, and I will say it's not looking good for Activision right now. Battlefield is absolutely destroying COD's player counts, and even though the BF6 Battle Royale mode Red Sec has been a little underwhelming, the base game is still absolutely cranking player counts at all hours of the day right now. Black Ops 7 seems to be getting positive early reception from the betas and the playtest. That doesn't really mean anything if it's not good enough to pull people away from the other stuff they've already been playing. We talked about that in the last video. They are at war here. I promise you. EA, Activision, all of them, they are at war for your precious gaming hours. So you can only play one game at a time. And if you're already playing Battlefield 6 and you're invested in it, Black Ops 7 is going to have to be better than just good to pull you away from that for any substantial amount of time. I'm not talking about launch day. I'm not talking about the first week. That's the new hasn't worn off. Everybody wants to try the new. The magic to the formula is getting you to stick with it once that new is worn off. Once the honeymoon phase has ended. It seems like the last few COD games have given players lots of reasons to straight up exit the game, but not a lot of reasons to stick around and keep playing, which is the main struggle that Activision is facing right now, in my opinion. Everybody can list off a million reasons why they don't want to play Call of Duty anymore, myself included. But how many reasons can you think of that make you want to go boot up the game and go play a few games? Let's look at it from the opposite side of the spectrum here. And one major thing that's been keeping a lot of COD players off the game is cheaters. The cheating situation in COD has been absolutely out of control over the last few years, which is honestly kind of weird because they're also allegedly taking the problem more seriously than ever. Activision made their own proprietary anti-cheat software. We know it as Ricochet, right? And they were hyping it up like it was going to be the most secure gaming experience ever. And then, well, that's not what happened. Ricochet was kind of effective for about a month when it was first introduced. But ever since then, to me, seems like the cheaters have completely outsmarted it and Activision cannot keep up. They are 2 steps ahead every time. And if you're a PC player, you probably hate Ricochet because of how intrusive it is on your machine. But I'm not going to get into that because there's plenty of other YouTubers who can explain it better than I can when it comes to the PC side of things. Basically, though, Activision pushed this very intrusive anti-cheat software into Call of Duty, and it didn't do its job because the cheaters, they're still running rampant, or at least they were before Black Ops 7. Now, Black Ops 7's beta was relatively secure. I will say that from what I saw. When it came to cheaters, there didn't seem to be that many of them running around it again. I did see a clip or two of people that were able to cheat in the beta, but it wasn't everywhere. So they may have just been in different games because I kind of find it hard to believe that Black Ops 7 security was just good enough to get rid of all of them overnight. That's not really how this works, but I am going to go to the optimistic side, and I'm hoping Activision realizes how much of an issue it was and how pivotal it is for them to get this under control. Because here's the thing. People are not going to play your game if it's not as secure as the competition. I don't care if the roles were reversed. If Battlefield 6 was hacked to crap right now, then they wouldn't play it. They'd go play Black Ops 7 if it was a better experience. People are not going to deal with Black Ops 7 cheaters if BF6 is more secure. It's just not going to happen. Even if you enjoy COD more than Battlefield, there is a decent chance you're going to want to move over to Battlefield if they can promise you and deliver to you a more secure environment to actually play the game that you paid your money for. So, I am glad that Black Ops 7 seems to be more secure than the last few COD games at the moment. But unless they get that cheating percentage down to less than 1% of the player base, I think they're going to have a real problem on their hands when it actually comes to player retention. And once again, this was beta. This was the beta. This was not the full launch. And things tend to get really wild when we get into the full launch of Call of Duty. I can't think back to a Call of Duty that launched in a decent state. Can you guys? I think COD World War II, I think Vanguard, all of those, they launched in such a poor state, which is just so mind-blowing. It's always launch it broken and we'll fix it down the road. But that's also probably a video for another day, or I'm going to go off at a tangent here and just start ranting. But stay on track. Speaking of player retention, people getting online. There's been some weird discussion out there over or when Black Ops 7 actually comes out. And I said this at the beginning of the video. I've never seen anything like this in all my years covering Call of Duty on the channel. The official release date for Black Ops 7 is November 14th. Now, it's not uncommon for the campaign to go live a few days early for people who pre-order the deluxe edition, but according to Activision and Treyarch, Black Ops 7 is launching in its entirety on November 14th with no early access. But then a few days ago, you had some reports start coming out about the Vault edition of the game actually activating ahead of schedule. And that led to rumors flying that Activision was actually planning on essentially shadow dropping the game a week early as a way to generate a bunch of extra buzz and hype and get people hopping online sooner as a way to try to counter Battlefield on the player charts. Now, that all started when people started realizing that the countdowns on digital storefronts like Xbox and PlayStation, they had the Vault edition of Black Ops 7 launching a few days ahead of schedule. And then Forbes themselves actually wrote an entire article, about how the Vault Edition was officially getting 72 hours of early access to the game, which that would be unprecedented for a Call of Duty title. But then things got even more confusing when Charlie Intel reached out to Activision directly, and they were told by an official Activision representative that every version, including the Vault Edition, will go live on November 14th, and there is no early access of any kind. Now, personally, I think it was all done on purpose. I think all of this is done on purpose. You're talking about a guy that got the mannequin thing leaked to him by some anonymous email. Did I ever tell you guys that story? Really quick, what game was that? Was it Black Ops 3? I can't remember. It was the one with the mannequins on Nuketown, but it was the newer version of them, and nobody knew how to do it. And I got, like, the first weekend, I got an anonymous email from some guy I've never talked to before that gave me step-by-steps on how to go do the new mannequin Easter egg that we hadn't done. It wasn't the first one, not the original. You can go find the video. I broke it. I was the first one to do it, and I didn't figure it out. Somebody emailed me that anonymously. I think his name was like Charlie. I don't even remember. It was crazy, but at that moment, I had the clarity, and I knew that all of these plants and everything you see, oh, this leaked or whatever, most of it, 99% of it, is done on purpose to drum up hype, except for me leaking the original Warzone. That was not on purpose because I woke up to 80 calls from my Activision reps and everybody else up in the higher chains of Activision and Call of Duty. That was definitely not on purpose, but most of them are done on purpose and very, very calculated. Now, it's to drum up discussion. I mean, why would all the digital storefronts start listing the Vault Edition with an early release date at the same time? And why would Forbes write a whole article about there being 72 hours of early access if Activision hadn't deliberately done something to make it seem that way? In fact, I think this was all a test by Activision to see how much people actually cared about it. Think about it. They could technically launch the digital versions of the game whenever they want. The game's gone gold. All the game files are up on the digital storefronts. Preloading starts in a couple days. They can make those files public whenever they want. They can make them available whenever they wanted to. So what I actually think happened here was that Activision wanted to drum up some discussion about the game. They see how good Battlefield 6 is doing, trending, doing great just on Steam charts, not talking about console numbers or anything like that. Yes, RedSec is a split kind of division divide right now. You can give me your comments and your thoughts on it. I see a lot of people that love it, and they say the core of it is great, and Battlefield will adjust, and as we go, it'll get better and better. And I see other people that say it's too slow, too methodical. Then again, it's Battlefield. It's not Call of Duty. It's not an arcade shooter. So I think that it could be here for a while. But I also think if we are going to get an actual version of Blackout back, that could put a big dent into it if it's done right. But that's a video for another day, and that's a little ways down the pipeline, which we'll probably cover here in the future sometime. But with all that being said, they see what's happening. They see the shift, and they are fully aware that Battlefield is going to make an impact and put a dent into their cash cow, into their ever-growing money tree. So they quietly set the Vault edition of the game to go live 72 hours early. They just wanted to see if people would react, wanted to see if people would bite. Because if they got enough of a positive reaction from the public, if it trended enough, got out there, they could make that 72-hour early access period a reality with the touch of a button. But since they presumably didn't get the kind of buzz they were hoping for, this is all alleged, okay? I'm just thinking out of my head here. Now they're just denying everything and going back to November 14th release date for all versions of the game. Personally, I think it's a pretty smart move. It's a chess move in their situation because obviously they want as much buzz as possible right now, but this way, they also kept a little sliver of deniability if it didn't go their way. If you think about it, it's actually genius. Why would Forbes magazine make an entire article talking about the specific Vault edition and going live 72 hours? You don't think there was some back alley emailing going on there? Some of those anonymous Charlie sources that like emailed me back in the day with like hints and rumors. I got so many anonymous emails back in the day when I was covering like the leaks of stuff and everything on top of the early access I got working with Activision. I got a lot of anonymous stuff that I never could figure out. You don't think that was going on with Forbes? It was, I promise you. So once again, I think it's a pretty smart move. See if there's buzz there. If there's not, it's okay. We're good to go. They never promised early access for the Vault edition of the game, but if there was enough of a pre-order boost after the news went trending, which it did, they easily could have just made an official feature. But my guess is not enough people actually bit and went and pre-ordered the Vault edition of Black Ops 7 to get it 72 hours early when they could just get it 3 days after that. So maybe they backed off of it. I don't know. You guys let me know. Is it my tinfoil hat? I don't feel like it is because I'm coming from a lot of experience in this space with this IP and it all makes sense to me. So you guys let me know what you think. And also, what do you think about Ricochet and Black Ops 7? I find it really hard to believe that we aren't going to get Black Ops 7 on November 14th and that I'm going to go on November 15th and I'm going to be looking at YouTube and X and I am literally going to see some of the craziest hacking that I've ever seen because it happens every single year. It's like the anti-cheat cannot keep up with the cheaters. The cheaters are ahead. I don't know if they're more educated or they have more tools at their disposal or they have an advantage. I guess they do because the cheaters aren't necessarily reactive, they're proactive. The cheaters go and find a solution to be able to cheat, and then Call of Duty or whatever other game and their anti-cheat have to be reactive, see what they did, and then go fix it. So by the time they go fix the cheat, the cheater's already onto the next cheat, and then the next cheat. And it's like this staggered effect. Like if you're looking at it on a screen and you've got, do you remember the Frogger game? That's really random, but you got the Activision, you got the Ricochet Frogger on the left, and you got, we'll call him Cheater Peter on the right, the frog, and he's bouncing up the road, and he's always like 2 or 3 bounces ahead of the Ricochet frog. And then they just keep going. And then the Ricochet frog will catch up for a second, and he'll fix the hole that Cheater Peter made. But then Cheater Peter's already ready to bounce 1 or 2 more cheats in, and it's just this back and forth. It's a proactive versus reactive situation. If that never changes, we will never, ever get a good gaming experience when it comes to Call of Duty. We will be dealing with cheaters 10 years from now. And honestly, that's really sad to think about now that I think about it. And it's kind of frustrating as well because there's nothing that kills the vibe of a game worse than somebody hacking and chewing up a lobby to where there's no fairness involved in it. It sucks. It makes you want to uninstall the game and go find something else. Actually, what it does for me is makes me want to go play some really cool single-player offline game and not have to worry about it. I'll just go play God of War, Ragnarok, or Spider-Man 2, or something like that. Heck, Outer Worlds. I'll go find... single-player games are awesome now. So why deal with little Cheater Peter over there that's going to make my gaming experience terrible? On top of that, if I can't talk to my friends or we have lobbies that disband all the time, which I know, Activision says we're not doing that this time. They say on launch day, we are not going to have disbanding lobbies and all that good stuff, and SBMM is going to be toned down. I did a video about that as well. We'll see how that looks after week 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to hold them accountable. We're going to hold them accountable on this channel. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about the cheat. Let me know what you think about the supposed 72 hours advance and vault edition. I think it was a very, very brilliant move that just didn't pan out. There you have it. I ranted way too long. I appreciate you guys.